Hey everyone, welcome back to Premium Picks. It's Thursday night. We are less than 48 hours away from UFC 289, Nunes versus Aldana. Earlier in the week, we dropped a video with our initial predictions, breakdowns, our initial picks. There were no props out yet. All the lines weren't out yet. So we just gave our initial feelers out there. Today, the props came out. They were released. We hammered a couple of the lines. We placed some more bets. We locked in our picks. And a few of them have even kind of flipped a little bit. We've talked all week. We've had a better chance to look over stuff. So we're going to give you our picks. We're going to give you our parlays. We're going to give you our props. We're going to give you our shot in the dark YOLOs. And we're going to give just a really quick rundown on each fight. What, if anything's changed, just a quick recap. First fight of the night, we got Diana Belbita, Maria Oliveira. Right from the start, we said this was a coin flip. We said it was a 50-50 fight. It still is. I actually read some stuff that Maria Oliveira is actually on a reality show. Dana White's not too happy about it, actually. He's saying, well, she better come through because this isn't a career where you play around with. So that actually gave a bit of confidence towards Deanna Belbita, I guess. But again, for me, the fight's a pass. It would be an over or a pass. That's it. I'm not betting it. A-Train, you?
I like the over 2.5 at three. I know it's minus 300, and I know it's like you're like, oh, why would you? But like part of a YOLO parlay, not that bad. Belbita, money's coming in on her, so line's going in her way. So Belbita did by decision is plus 140. I like that. Some if your books allow it, a fight to start round 2 or 3. Those are always good picks. But yeah, that's where I'm at in this fight. I'm gonna take the round props because I think this is going the whole way. But I think Belbita
Are
wins
you
a
actually,
decision.
I know that's your pick, and I would agree. Are you actually
Yeah,
going to lay money on it or
yeah,
no?
yeah. I'm gonna put it part. I'm gonna have the over because I do one for I like a whole parlay for the whole card for like $10, and I'll have that because I try to take the most confident thing that would happen in that fight with like medium odds. So minus 300 medium odds, I would say best.
Okay, moving on. We got an updated fight. We got David Dvorak versus Steve Erceg. This is we didn't review this fight because it was a different fight a week ago. Steve is actually an extremely dangerous grappler, similar to Schnell in that they're both submission artists, except Steve is way better at actually getting it to the ground, controlling it on the ground, keeping you on the ground, whereas Schnell is more scramble sub, opportunistic, out of nowhere submissions. And Steve's way bigger. Like he's a long, rangy guy. He's hittable, but he has a good jab. He has decent striking. For me, the fight's now a pass. I had a lot of money on David Dvorak. I cashed it all out. I don't like him here as a bigger favorite against, in my opinion, a more dangerous guy, a 9-1 instead of a 16-8. Yes, Schnell's fought the better guys, but I think Steve Erceg is actually a pretty good prospect. This fight has pass all over it for me. There's no way I'm playing Dvorak at minus 300. What about you?
I'm not playing Dvorak at minus. Well, I'm getting minus 265. A lot of money coming out of Usyk over the last 48 hours. Not gonna play him at that. I like Dvorak KO at plus 300. I won't play any round props here because I don't know what's really gonna happen. I think Usyk's gonna tire out, and I think Dvorak will finish him in the second or third round. So if you're gonna play a Dvorak play, go plus 300 on the KO, plus 650 on the submission. And the only other thing I play for Usyk is money line finish only, uh, plus 175 because his only chance to win is by finish. If this goes to decision, he'll lose. So that's it. That's if you
Yeah,
want to play this. I don't think I want to.
yeah. For me, it's a pass. Or if you are playing, I'd say it's a dog, just because you have no. It's such a wild card, and the odds are crazy. So dog or pass, pass for me. Moving on, Blake Builder versus Kyle Nelson. Earlier in the week, I told you guys I'm not big on Blake Builder. I'm still not, but you know what? My confidence is actually growing on him. I said he's going to pitter patter his way to a point decision. He probably still will, except I think he can actually utilize some grappling as well. Get on top and pound on him a little bit. I think he's just the better athlete. He's the stronger, more physical athlete. So I do like Builder. I do have him in a parlay I'm going to show later. Um, I like Builder and over. You?
Yeah, a lot of people are on the builder under here. They think Nelson's gonna like fade and go into it, but Builder by decision is plus 225. That's not bad. I like Builder. He's part of that same YOLO parlay. I'm actually gonna take the fighter in that one. Yeah, I like the overs in Builder. I like him by decision though, plus 225. I always put one of those decision tickets together, or maybe one or two, because a lot of fights go to decision. So
Yeah, so builders minus 250. I know every book's slightly different. 365 is what I use, for instance. You can choose double method. So you can choose him to win minus 250, and then you can choose over 1.5 rounds as well, minus 125. So to me, minus 125, builder wins over 1.5 rounds. That's what I like because I don't think he's going to be a quick finisher. That would be my choice. But
minus 125. Oh, over here is plus 115. I'm looking at my book. So
plus 115?
yeah.
Wow, that's even better. Damn.
Yeah, man. All right, folks, I'm locking in plus 115 on this fight. So I'm going that way.
All right, moving on. We got Zahabi versus the Mongolian murderer. Not even going to try to pronounce that name. Iori Kilang, I believe. This fight is super pass for me. There's no way I can feel confident. Zahabi low output. But I don't know if maybe he can utilize his wrestling or grappling to maybe stifle him and win in the decision. So for me, that it's just I wouldn't put my. Why am I going to put my money on two guys I don't really know? It's almost one of my rules. Don't bet on something you don't know. I don't know enough about these guys. My pick would be Key Lang. Not betting it. What do you think?
I like healing a lot. I'm pretty I'd be pretty invested on him in at least a couple parlays on. I like him a lot here. Only thing that has me worried is a lot of money's coming in Zahabi and is something up, right? Because could get the hometown rub. That kind of thing is the only thing worrying me about laying more money on Key Lang. I like him in the spot. He's the better, more voluminous striker. If anyone's going to utilize the ground game, it's going to be him. I think I told you earlier, I like him by decision too because Zahabi doesn't really get knocked out that all that often. Ricardo Ramos with the spinning back fist, I don't think Keelang's going to pull that shit out of his ass. So that's all. He's down to plus 180 on the. It was over to plus 200 on the decision on that one. Ooh. I like Keelang. I like him a lot. I think he's the better fighter here, but I think there might be a hometown rub. So put him a little bit, but not go too crazy.
All right, moving on. We got the Canadian Jasmine Jasuda Vicious versus Miranda Maverick. Maverick was a minus 300. I think she still is. I don't think that line's moved at all. After watching some tape, hold on. So let me be transparent. I have Miranda in one parlay, and I also have Jasmine in a YOLO. Um, I'll show at the end of this video, but $10 on Jasmine and Aldana pays over $200. So I did take that stab on both those girls. But Jasmine, you know what? She is an Olympic caliber wrestler. She has a lot of wrestling credentials, and if Maverick can't get it to the ground, I think we got an extremely close fight on our hands, and that's how I see this fight kind of playing out. I think she will be fine in the scrambles. I think it's going to be a dogfight, but I think Jasmine can hold her own. I think she's not going to be held down for 3 rounds. I think she'll be able to reverse positions, scramble back up, maybe even get a takedown of her own. I expect a very, very close fight. I think Maverick might get the rub. They like Maverick. She's almost like one of the faces of the division. Like she's not going to be a contender, but they like her, almost like a Macy Barber. So I think Maverick, I still lean. I do have more money on Maverick, but I think Jasmine is live. I wouldn't fault anyone for playing that dog. Women's fight, don't go too big. What do you think?
I think Maverick wins, but the odds are just shit. Like her by decision is minus 125. Her and like money line is minus 295. I don't like either of those, but I think she has her outgunned on the feet. And I think you're right. I think there's going to be scrambles. I think they're going to not be on the ground as much as everyone thinks they're going to be on the ground because I feel like the wrestling cancels out here. And that's where I put Maverick as the better, well, more technical, more powerful striker. Jasmine, I have wanted pitter patter. Some people like that kind of striking, but nowadays I feel like the striking's been like judged a lot differently than before. I mean, we can say from the KKF fight last week, right? He was on his back foot, and they weren't, but he was landing way more stuff. But they didn't take that account. It was more about the power than it was about the volume, right? So it depends on who's the judges. So I mean, I don't like the odds either way. I will be taking the over in some way or shape or form to put on my YOLO parlay. I'm not sure if I'll get to Maverick. I might put her in one of my like safety parlays because I do think she's safe. But I just think it's like the lines. If she was lined at like minus 150, minus 175, you'd be like all over that all day long, right? So that's
That's funny because I was the Maverick hater. You are all on her, and now I
I'm
have money on her and you don't. What the
I
fuck's that
not
about?
well, I'm gonna put it. No, I'm putting her in. It's gonna be in one of those like fivers, maybe 4 or 5 fighter parlays. It's not. She's not gonna be the a big part of the night. She'll be a part of the night, but not a big part of the night. But she'll be a part of the night.
All right, I like it. All right, moving on. We got for me one of the biggest fights of the night for me money wise. We have Nasruddin Imavov versus Chris Curtis. Honestly, I'm getting cold feet on this fight, but I have a ton of money on Nasruddin. I mean, my logic hasn't really changed. I still do think he's going to win by volume. I think this fight has over all over it. I think it's going to decision. I think that might even be your safest pick. Fight goes the distance. Yes, I think the fight is going the distance. I think he's going to win similar to Hermanson. I'm sure Curtis learned a little bit from that fight, so it's not going to be quite as one-sided, but I think he will be able to use his range and his volume to outpoint Curtis because Curtis is always getting outpointed until he lands the knockout shot. I don't think Curtis is landing that knockout shot. That being said, I just looked in my bets. I made the same bet 3 times, which is, I don't know how I did this, but I have over $400 on Imavov and Benil to return about $1,400. So like I don't know how I kept placing the same bet over and over and over, but I did. Um, so I might cash out one of them and retract it. I don't know. But either way, if Imavov and Benil win, it's going to be over $1,000 for me. They're going to be my 2 butterfly fights, the ones I need the most. I think Imavov pulls it off, but my confident pick would tell you guys it's going late. It's going to go over. What do you think?
I like Imavov. I don't like Curtis's volume. The entire world seems to be on Curtis. So when my logic was it's always been if the entire world's on someone, go with the other guy. And yeah, Imavov is a big 185er. Curtis is actually a natural welterweight. So Imavov will be the bigger guy in the cage. The only thing that scares me is that he gasses a little bit at the end of fights, right? So I feel like he can pitter patter him from the outside, do just like Hermanson said, just like you said. So I like Imavov. He'll be a big part of my night. I don't place early like coach here. I place late. I don't mind losing a $20 or $30 of value. I want to be sure in my head usually how I do these things. So Imavov will be part of my night. I'm actually thinking about the over 2.5. I mean, sorry, 5 goes to this distance. Sorry, minus 135. That's very good too. It's not juice to the tits, so I might do half and half of what you did and do like the over and then Imavov on one and then and mix it up with because there's a couple fights I think there's an under as well.
They both have chins. Like I don't see a knockout. The only problem is it's scary to place. And I mean, for me, I think it's a big bet to place that much of a bet on a fight you know is going the distance. So it's like, fuck, are the judges gonna fuck this up? Like,
Right,
and
right, right. That's like putting big money on that car fence. Keep going back to that decision, right? Because Jesus, man. So I rewatched that because I told you I didn't watch it. I wasn't fully watching it that day, and I rewatched it today. I was like, oof,
all right,
oof.
moving on. We got Eric Anders versus Marc Andre Barriol. This is a fun fight. I mean, does it deserve to be on the main card? No. Imavov and Curtis are in the same division, and they're both ranked higher, so it's strange to see. But you know what? This actually is a fun fight, though. It's going to be a stand up. It's going to be a stand up fight. I know that you said Anders might work in his takedowns. I don't think it's really going to work. So I think we got a striker versus striker. It could be competitive. I like Anders. I'm rooting for Anders. Don't have money on the fight. So this was going to be a fun one for me. I'm just going to root for Anders and take a shot and enjoy it. And that's about it for me. What do you think?
I don't know why I started liking Barrio halfway through the week. Like I just kept looking at the volume and like Anders has got to land the big shot. So, I know Barrio could get dropped at the big shot. Chitty Chitty did it. and he's been dropped by the big shot before, but I don't think he's gonna get out grappled. Like this is not like the Iron Turtle. The Iron Turtle's got really good jits and stuff like that, right? So I like Barrio. I like the over. I like Barrio by decision. I have him part of my decision ticket. He's not a huge part of my night, but I like Maverick. He's on along the lines of Maverick for me, but just at way better odds. Minus 135, way better odds. I could take a shot on him because I think he's more well-rounded than Anders. And that's why I like the line on a fighter that has more ways to win. Like I said, it's gonna be in a medium parlay, but I got him. Got him all day.
Yeah, I think you're pretty good there. Like you said, more well-rounded, more volumes, and I don't think he's that chinny. I mean,
It
Chitty
is
hits us
Chitty,
harder.
is right.
Yeah,
It's
man.
just Chitty, man. And then you know how Chitty goes when he actually goes for it, right? So it is what it is.
All right, moving on. We got Dan Ige and Nate the Train Landwehr. We did say earlier in the week it felt like a dog or pass. I still feel like the odds are too wide, but we both do agree as well that Ige should be the better boxer. Nate's wild. He's actually kind of chinny, to be honest.
Yep.
Like Dan seems like, hey, he might be losing at first, but he's a tough guy. He'll take the early onslaught, and when he gives his, he'll probably knock Nate out, to be honest. I don't fault anyone for playing Landwehr. The money, the line's a little wide, so I don't fault a pick on Nate. But Ige, like I said, I think Nate will come out tough, might land some early onslaught, and then he'll probably get chinned himself. So Ige's looking pretty good here to both of us.
Yep.
I don't have Ige on any tickets, I don't think, or I don't yet. What are you thinking here?
Remember, yeah, I sent all you those messages today. I was looking at Ige really tough over the last couple days. So when Ige takes that step up is when Ige falters. When he gets guys in this middling tier and he acts as like the top seven gatekeeper, yo, he's knocking the fuck out of these guys. So like I feel like Nate Landwehr is a step down from what Ige's been fighting lately, right? So he's been fighting the Caters and all those bigger guys of the world in the division. If I went through it, it was probably a good amount of good fights that he's had. Landwehr just finished beating up like who's that fucking guy?
Austin
Austin
Lingo.
Lingo, right? So
Hey,
yeah,
but you know what? Lingo doesn't have terrible hands, though.
I know, but like, okay, so let's put this in perspective since I have 1 second here. Danny, pull up Danny Ige's record. So he fought in his last 5 fights, Calvin Cater, which he lost to. Then he fought Gavin Tucker on a big win streak, and everyone thought Tucker had a chance, and he fucking one punched him. Lost to the fucking Korean zombie, Josh Emmett Mavsar. But what did he do with a middling guy like Damon Jackson? He put him out, right? And I put Damon Jackson, the same middling guy that comes to fight kind of late Landwehr, man. Same sort of fighter. Damon Jackson always shows up to fight. Yo, Damon Jackson's won me money a lot of times. You know what I mean? So uh he shows up to fight, but this is the it just smells like a fight that Danny Gay wins. It just smells like a fight that Danny Gay wins. I got Danny Gay. He's gonna be a decent part of my night. I really feel strongly about Danny Gay. And you're right. I feel like he's gonna knock him out. And that's what I feel like is I feel like Danny Gay by knockout is the play or inside the distance, however you want to do it.
Yeah, because I mean, if it was to actually go the distance, Nate is the higher volume. So I think if it goes to a decision, Nate's probably going to win. But Ige's going to one punch him. That's probably what's going to happen.
Yeah, but even though Ige could control distance, like Nate, when he does things, it's like he has to mix in that wrestling. Danny Ige came into the UFC as a grappler, as a wrestler. So I don't feel like he's gonna get taken down like Onama and all that stuff. And Nate likes to break people, and when they slow down is when Nate does his best work, right? Danny Ige doesn't slow down. He's got cardio for days. He's done the 5 rounders. He's had main events in the UFC. I feel this is an Ige spot for me. I just feel like this is a spot for him.
All right, moving on. We got the strange featured fight, Mike Mallet and Adam Fugit. Earlier in the week, I was almost tempted to bet against Mallet, but you know what? This fight almost feels like a setup. It's in Canada. This is for Mike Mallet to get a huge win here. So Mike Mallett's most likely going to win by finish. And if he loses, it's going to be by finish because he's never seen a friggin' second round. So the play here is does not go the distance, under 2.5. And if you're feeling really brave, under 1.5. Those are the plays. Fight is not going to decision. I do have that on one ticket. What about you?
Fight does not go decision. That's all I have. This is set up for Mike Mallet to win, but nobody knows what his goddamn cardio looks like. So I don't know what his cardio looks like. And I know what Fuget's cardio looks like, but Fuget ain't all that good either. Mike Mallet should, for all intents and purposes, wipe the floor with this fool. But I don't know that he's going to. But like, and this is in the same thing. But you're so strong about Dan Ige, but you're not so strong about the same sort of favorite. Not even the same thing. There's no resume here for me to look at. There's no fights for me to look at, right? This is a pass, a straight up pass, or just go fucking violence. And that's it.
All right. The people's main event, Charles Oliveira, Beneil Dariush. We've already broke it down. Grappler versus grappler, striker versus striker. These guys can do it all. This is going to be a wicked, high-paced fight. The only way it's not is if Beneil holds him down for 3 rounds, which is possible. But regardless, it should be a wicked fight. I've got Beneil Dariush on too many tickets. So he's going to make or break my night. I have $100 on him straight up. I have $300 on him in a parlay with Imavov. I have him on every single far out there parlay pretty much, other than a couple. I don't know. I have him on almost every ticket. Beneil is on almost all my tickets. I need him big here. I like Charles. No disrespect. I love Charles Oliveira. I got Beneil Dariush. What do you think?
Everyone in their right mind is picking Charles. Everything I've watched or heard, everyone's picking Charles. I heard Charles, except for a couple of people. I like Beneil here, and I like him for different reasons that they don't like Charles. So yeah, man, I'm gonna hear he's a good like you said, you have him all over. I'm gonna have him as a decent part of my night. I'm not gonna get him at minus 145 again. And I don't know about Charles right now. I love Charles up to like, oh man. But like Makashev, and I'm not putting Makashev's skills against Dariush's skills. I'm not saying they're the same or anything. I'm saying, but they're the same type of like fighter in the same sense, right? Dariush actually has a little bit better striking than Islam, right? Islam might have a little bit more better wrestling, but like Dariush has pretty got some good damn wrestling too, right? And he has the better grappling skills as well, right? So I'm gonna take Dariush. What I really like is the under 2.5 at minus 215. That's going to be in the parlay. That's how I'm going to guard against the Charles win against Gary Hughes, just to counter it with the under 2.5. So those tickets are going to mirror each other in such a way that I can either win both or, in the worst case scenario, at least win one. So my two best bets on that is Beneil and under 2.5.
All right, that's going to be a fun fight regardless. Moving on to the main event, Amanda Nunes, Irene Aldana. I think this fight goes one of two ways. Either Nunes is at her best and she's in shape and she can go long, she's going to win. She's the more technical fighter, or she's not in shape and she's going to get chinned. So I think if you're on Aldana, of course, anytime you see plus 275, it sounds great. But I actually think if you're playing Aldana, you got to take to finish, because I don't think she's going to win a decision over Nunes. I think if she wins, it's because she catches her with a huge shot. So I do have Aldana in two tiny, far-fetched YOLO bets. I have $10 on Aldana and Jasmine to win 200, and I have $20 on Aldana to finish and Beneil to finish, and it pays 20, pays over 300. And I was like, okay, those are my far-fetched Aldana tickets. I think she has a shot. I absolutely do. And if you're on Nunes, I think she goes late, because Aldana has a great chin, and you got to imagine that she's coming in the best shape of her life, the most motivated she's ever been. So it's either Nunes late, like maybe even a Nunes decision, or Aldana by finish. So those would be the two plays for me. What about you?
I think Nunez has got her outgunned everywhere, and it all depends on the cardio. But, but when Amanda paces herself, even if she loses cardio later on in the fights, She's able to use her wrestling. I feel like her wrestling is good enough to win this fight. And when I think she's gonna get tired by. If she gets tired, it'll be like round three, though. Like, so that pace that she lost that Pena fight in, that was because that pace was so frantic at the beginning, right? I don't feel like Aldana brings it like that, right? So if it's a more measured kickboxing fight, then it won't be till like round three or round four. And then she's going to employ wrestling halfway through the round. She does have good fight IQ, Amanda. So I do like Amanda by decision, plus 300. That is a fucking very nice number. And I will be playing Amanda by decision in my decision parlay. That's for sure. And I'm going to parlay Amanda at minus 300 because I minus 330 or whatever it is, which equates to about 65, 68%. And I think she wins closer to 80% of the time. So I feel like she's
Fair
safe.
enough. And that's awesome value because you're taking a minus 350 favorite and you're getting plus 300 on that decision. And Aldana, tough Mexican, got to be her highest motivated training camp ever. So you got to think she's ready to go. So I like the Nunes decision. That's I like that stab.
Her sub
Uh,
prop's plus 500 too.
which one?
Her sub prop is plus 500. Like
Uh,
wait, so like we like Mexican shins, so they don't get knocked out, but sometimes they get knocked down, and they do fight back a lot. So it might come down to when's the last time we seen Amanda rear naked choke or something. So they are going to spend a lot of time on the ground, I think. So
uh,
it might be a sneaky play.
I still like. I still question Nunes's gas tank. Like, you know what? We've seen her take down girls. We've seen her use that wrestling, but she usually finishes it. She took down that Megan Anderson, finished it immediately. Jermaine Durandamy. Like every time she takes
Yeah,
someone
but
down, she seems to finish it. Have we seen her wrestle for 5 rounds
yep,
against a big girl?
Felicia Spencer.
Yeah. Okay, there you have it. Okay, guys. UFC 289. Those we've given you the breakdowns. Coming up in a second, we're going to give you our chart, our conservative side, our high risk, high reward side. We're going to show you some of the parlays we've placed, some of the props we've placed, some YOLO bets. We're going to show you everything. Guys, like, subscribe, drop a comment. Let us know who your lock of the card is. Let us know who your underdog pick is. Let us know if you disagree with something. And also, if you're here and you're just tailing our bets, go rewatch our previous video with the breakdowns. Don't just tail our bets. Watch the breakdowns, see if they make sense. Pick which spots you agree with and go off of that. Don't just tail every single one of our bets and think you're going to get rich here. I mean, we're killing it. Don't get me wrong. We're doing great, but watch the breakdowns. See what you agree with. Pick your spots. This card, it's not the best card for betting. There's some spots we like. It's not the best card out there. Next UFC 290, UFC 291, wicked cards. We're going to find lots of spots there, but pick and choose, like, subscribe, comment. Let's smash it. Any last words?
No, yeah, pick and choose, man. Like we don't even play all our plays on that chart, right? It's not about picking right. Most of us can pick 7 out of the 10 fights right. It's that you put the ones that are right together, right? So what I do is just tier your bets, tier one, tier two, tier three, your picks, and then try to make the best mix. Sometimes we get them, sometimes we don't. It's the
That's
life of
right.
the game, man.
All right, guys. And also, just a heads up, we've been getting a lot of comments about, hey, when are you going to drop the next one? Hey, we appreciate the love. I love all those comments, every single one of them. From now on, just to give you guys a heads up, Sundays is going to be our breakdowns. Thursdays is going to be our locked in bets, picks, locked in props, because the props drop later in the week. So from now on, our schedule is Sundays and Thursdays. Look out for the next videos. Let's smash it this Saturday night. Let's get it. And we'll see you soon.
All right. Stop.